Welcome to another discussion on the basics of AutoCAD. This time we will continue on our previous activity, which is the line exercises. For our next discussion, it will now tackle about two new commands, that is the extend and the trim. So for this example, we will use two figures, the 45-degree lines and the 30 and 60-degree line. So to start, let's create the border, which is this one. So we will just copy this existing square that we had. So to copy, just click the object and then type in the command copy, or CO, the shortcut for copy. Click and then select a base point and select the location of the new object, which is this one. Now to start, again we will start at the middle of this border that we had, which is this one. So we will try to locate the middle point of this object, and then we will use this polar tracking, the object snap. So make sure when you go to your object snap, which is here, the center or the geometric center is selected by having this check mark. So when we do a line around this object, it will show up its center. So click a line, type line, L, enter, and then to show the center of this object, move your cursor along the borders of, or the endpoints of this object. So as you can see, the icon for the center shows up, which is this one. So you can snap at the center. So you can click at the center and then locate the angle. So for this one, we will locate the 45-degree line angle. So the reason why this time it will not show up, because if you look at our polar tracking, it's turned off. So if you click this one, so it's highlighted and then it's already turned on. So as you can see, it gives us the guide for the 45-degree line. Now, since I started from the center, click towards this endpoint, and then on the other side, instead of making another line, click and click the other endpoint. I can use the command extend command. Okay, so we will extend this line towards this point. Now by using extend, it will retain the direction of this line. So there are two types of using the extend. The first one is uh, typing extend. You can type the whole word, or the shortcut for extend is EX. Enter. Now, the first question, again, if you look at the command bar, is that it will ask for the select objects or select all. So you will select the object or the boundary as to where the object will be extended, up to which extent. So for example, type extend, EX, enter. Then it will ask select object. So we want to extend this line towards the boundaries of this border. So we will select the border or the extension boundary. So click this one and then it will ask for another selection. But we don't have other selection, so it will be just this one. So we can click enter. Now, it will ask for the objects that you wish to extend. So if you click this one, as you can see, as I move the cursor along this line, it gives me an insight of how will it extend. So you can click this object, click, and there, it's already extended. So the one way of checking that this line is just extended is if you click this object, as you can see, it's just one line. Okay, so again, uh, type extend, EX, enter, select the boundaries. The boundaries would be this border. So click this one, and then since we don't have another borders or boundaries to choose, we can just proceed by clicking enter or typing enter. Enter, and now it will ask for what objects that you wish to extend. So you can click this one, click. So it extended towards the boundaries of this border. Okay, so that's the first option of using the extend tool. The other one is just uh, using the double enter. So same command, ex for extend, enter. So instead of selecting the boundaries or selecting a border, what you will do is just hit the enter button again. So enter, and then it changes to now what object you wish to extend. Okay, so if I click this one, it automatically extends, no, without having the selection for the borders. Okay, so to further explain, so for example, I have here a series of objects. So I will have a line here from the center towards this portion. Okay, so to discuss the first selection, which is to select borders or select boundaries, so what you will do is, again, type the command, which is extend ex enter, and then it will ask for the boundaries. This time, instead of using this one, we can select up to this portion, meaning we wish to extend this line passing through these different borders because we wish to be using this borders or boundary. So again, ex enter. Now when it is asking for the boundaries, we will select this one because we wish to extend up to this uh, square box. So click, and then now it will select the object. So as you can see, it will extend thoroughly directed to the boundary. Okay, so again, ex enter, select the boundary, which is this one. So after selecting, it will show by highlighting the object. So and then click enter. Now it will ask for the object you wish to extend, which is this one. So select, and then there you can see that the object is extended towards the outer border or the border that we selected, same as the other side. So if you wish to extend the other side towards this portion, you can just click it here. Okay, so as you can see, it extends automatically towards the border that we selected. So this is the first option. The second option, however, is this. Again, we have this line and we wish to extend it uh, as to where you wish to extend this line. Okay, so the second option is this. Instead of selecting uh, a boundary, no, by using the double enter, it will automatically extend up to up to where it will hit a boundary. So for example, ex enter and then enter again. If you click this one, it will extend to this point because this is a boundary. If I click this one again, it will extend because it sees that there is another boundary beyond this line. And then click this one again, it still extends because you have this box as a boundary. And so on, click, so it still extends. But if you click this one, it will not extend because if you look out, we zoom out, there is no more boundaries outside. Okay, same as the other side. So if you click this one, you can still extend this line if there is a boundary outside the existing one. So that is the use of the double enter. Okay, so again, by using double enter, you can just extend this line directly to a nearest boundary. So ex enter and then enter again, click, click, click. As you can see, it extends if it will find an exterior boundary or another boundary rather another boundary outside the existing one. Okay, so that would be the difference of the two ways to use the extend line. So going back here, we already have this line. Okay, next is to create these lines. This is still a 45-degree line coming from the center. So from the center line, we will create a line, enter. So from the center, click, and then we will let the polar tracking guide us to maintain this angle. So as you can see, the guideline is being placed. So we just follow this one and click. So this is our next direction of the 45-degree line. Now, the distance between each line is still the same as the other example, which is 0.5. So what we will do is the same as these lines. Now we will use the offset. So offset command is O, enter, and then specify offset distance. So the distance would be 0.5, enter. And now it will ask you to select objects you wish to offset. So we want to offset this line towards this direction. So click this one and to here, from here to here, and so on. Okay, so as you can see, the lines goes beyond this box or boundary. And then this extensions, you cannot erase this one directly. So because if we click this one and erase, it will erase the whole object or the whole line. So what we will do now is to use the trim command. Trim command is basically the same process as the uh, extension command. So for example, this line, okay? So trim also has two different ways to use. So the first one is by selecting a boundary. Okay? So trim, you can type the whole word, trim, enter, or you can just type the shortcut, which is TR. TR, enter. And then the first question is select object. So this time it's still asking, it will be asking for a boundary, up to where you wish to cut or trim an object. So for example, we wish to trim or to cut the lines up to here. So this would be our boundary. So click this one and then select objects, meaning do you wish to have another boundaries or not. So we don't have any boundaries, so we will just type enter. So enter. Now, it will ask which lines you are going to trim. Okay, so we will trim this one. So as you can see, it will trim this line up to the borders. Okay, up to the border. So click, click, and select this line. So as you can see, the lines are being trimmed from the outside but up to the border that we selected. And it will work the other way around. So if you want to trim the inside lines now, so as you can see, we can also do that. So you can trim this line and then it will erase this portion up to the boundary. So the lines outside will not be selected. Okay, so as you can see, I cannot trim this line. The reason why, it's because this is just one object already towards this border. Unlike the others, trim, and then select this boundary, enter. I can still trim these lines because there are still portions of it outside the box. So I can still trim this one. Okay, I can still cut this. Okay, so again, the purpose of selecting a border is to have a boundary up to which extent. So it's either from trimming the outside portion or trimming the inside portion. Okay, so that is the first way of using the trim command. The other way is the same as the extend, which is using the double enter. Okay, so by using the double enter, no, it will trim an object towards its nearest boundary. So for example, we will use the double enter. So again, the command is tr enter. Now it will ask you to select objects, meaning to select the boundaries. But instead of selecting a boundary, you will press the enter again. Press the enter, and then now it will ask for the trim. What objects do you wish to be to select to be trimmed? No, so if you select this one, no, this whole line will be trimmed up to this portion because this is considered as a boundary. So you can just click this one. No, so these portions outside will be trimmed towards its nearest boundaries, which is this border. This is the nearest boundary. So as you can observe, it works basically the same as the uh, extend command. Okay, so however, as you can see, if you this whole line is an extension, no, so we have to delete this one. But if you click this one, this is using double trim, you cannot it doesn't delete the whole line because there is still a boundary beyond this, or in this portion. Okay, so that's the other way of using the trim. Okay, so to further explain, now we will have the same example having different boundaries, and then this time we will use trim. So for example, you have these lines here. Okay, so we will have the first uh, the one way of using the trim, which is by having a selection or a boundary. So for example, you will type in trim, which is the shortcut, having the shortcut of tr. So tr enter, and then the first question is to select a boundaries. So let's try selecting this one as the first boundary, and then we can also add another boundary. So for example, this one. Okay, and then select enter. Now as you can see, the command the status bar changes, and then it will ask for the object to be trimmed. So as you can see, if we select this portion, these lines, they are erased because we selected this boundary. So lines that is inside this boundary will be deleted. Okay, you can also work it can also work this way. Since we have this border, so again, it's either that we can trim the outside portions of these borders, or we can select the inside portions of this border. So if you as you can see, no, it directly erases lines that I selected towards the borders that we selected earlier on. Okay, so that is the use of having borders. The other one, however, is, I mean, the other one, which is the double enter, no? Basically, the same happens sa extend. So this time, tr, enter, and then enter again, it will trim towards a nearest boundary. So for this inside line, its nearest boundaries is this first box. So if you click this one, no, this whole line will be trimmed towards its nearest borders, which is this first box. So if you select this one, it will be trimmed, and so on. So for this portion, if you trim this line, no, it will erase a portion up to this border because this is the next boundary. Okay, and so on. Okay, so that is the two ways to use the trim command. So going back here, no, I will use now the first way of trimming these lines, which is selecting a border. So I can erase this directly. So TR, enter, and then I will select this border and then enter. Now, the other way of another shortcut for trimming object is that since I already have my border here, instead of clicking these lines one by one, I can use the group selection. Remember the group selection? No, so I can just make a selection from this point. No, I will include every line here. As you can see, no, it will erase or it will select the lines or the objects that was included in the selection. Same as here. So let's try this again, and then this time let's use the group selection, which is this one. Okay, so now we can proceed with the other direction, which is this one. So again, use offset, and then the distance is 0.5, 0.5, enter. So offset this line, and there, this is done. This time, we will now trim the extending lines beyond this border. So again, I will use the trim selection. So TR, enter, and then I will select this boundary, select, enter, and then I will now use the group selection. This one and this one, and then escape. So I already have my lines. This time I will just match the properties. So MA, that is for the match properties, enter, and then I will select a source object. So my first source object is this line, this yellow line, or the 0.3 line. And then I will now select which lines will be the 0.3 line. So you have this one, this one, this one, and this one. Same as the other lines. So you have this, and then select the alternate lines. And then you can do it for the other line, which is the broken line. So select this one. This is our source object. Yes. Okay, and then we are done with the first, no, the third figure. For the fourth figure, it will have the same process as the third figure, but this time we will now use the 30 and 60 degree lines. So again, to start, we will create a border. So just copy this border, copy, CO, enter. This is my base point, and copy towards here. And then, since we are using 30 and 60 degree line, so we will make sure that our guidelines will be 30 and 60 degrees. So to change that, we will go back to our polar tracking, which is this one, right click and select the angle. This one, 30. Okay? So again, we will start from the center. So create a line, enter, and then the first point will be at the center. So for the center of the object to pop out, so create a line, enter, and then move your cursor towards the edges so that it will show up the center point. So you have this one. So click this one at the center and then locate the first angle, which is the 60 degrees. So you have here 60 degrees. And then you have this X mark, meaning this is the intersection. So click, and then I will just extend this one to the opposite side using the extend command. So I can just use the double enter, EX, enter, and then enter again. It will extend towards its nearest boundary, which is this one. Okay, so I think you can proceed with uh, the rest of the process. Okay, so we are done with uh, the basics of creating these lines. Okay, so we will have a different activity now after this video instruction. Okay, so kindly follow the process on how we made this portion so you can create this figure by using the 30 and 60 degree lines. Okay, thank you for listening, and I hope that you can follow the process and or procedures